I should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, bonjour, welcome, and all that, wherever you are in the world. It's Friday yet again, which means obviously it's my slot. And my normal co-host, Paul from Oz, is still on his travels. So it's great to be able to welcome Ollie yet again. Ollie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Yeah, very well, thank you. As always, not often that we get to host a show together. So, yeah, very happy to be here, mate.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure to do one with you. We've got a few topics that we're going to cover off this morning. We're going to cover off some of the international games from last night. So, guys in the chat, give us your thoughts on the England game if you watched it, or if you didn't bother watching that and decided to watch Scotland instead. Give us your views on that one. And we'll also touch a little bit on the Holland game as well. We're also going to touch on a little bit on Dango Atara, our former player. Slightly interesting topic, which me and Ollie will discuss. And we'll also get Ollie's view on a video that came out earlier this week on our right back, Rehu. So, yeah, quite a few topics this morning, which we're going to work our way through. But as always, let's get started with the chat. There is several comments in already. So, and very familiar faces as always. Of course, starting off with David Da Costa. Morning all, 20 degrees and very windy. Summer is on its way up the Cherries. Well, I don't know about you, Ollie, but here this morning is dry but grey. But I'm happy with that. What's it like up there?
I'm not going to lie. It looks like it's going to be a lovely day. It's grey at the moment, but there is blue cracking through pretty nicely. So
smashing. So it should be a nice autumn day for you there then.
No, I think so.
Lovely. Paul, good morning as always. Great to have you with us. Saying good morning to everyone in the chat there. Malcolm, good morning, Matt, Ollie, and all in the chat. Happy Friday. Yep, good morning to you, Malcolm. Good to see you as always. Another familiar face, Chris Hubble. Hope you're well, buddy. And the weather report in Berlin is slightly cloudy. Is that a temperature of 14 today? So yeah, nice. Shouldn't need the heating on today then, Malcolm, really, should you? Yeah, high, 14 high. 12 here in Bournemouth at the moment. Yeah, same here in Poole. Yeah, same temperature I've got here. Big question, where is Bob the Builder? Yeah, I'm sure he should be logging in at some point to join us. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. But
special cameo yesterday morning, I hear.
yes. Darren did pop in with his, and he did look like Bob the Builder, bless him. England played well. Yeah, they did. They did. One of the better performances under the current manager, I would say. And Liam Humby, morning everyone. Watched the England game, was good. Yeah, so we come on to points of the internationals now, because obviously there was a few Cherries involved last night. With the England game, obviously we had some ex-Cherries as well, but our current Cherry, David Brooks, was involved last night, as well as Kiefer Moore, Harry Wilson, and Chris Mepham come off the bench as well. Did you see much of the game, Ollie, or did you catch little bits?
Yes, so I actually watched the first 25 minutes of the England-Wales game. So I saw
watch the rest of it then.
Yeah. And then decided to tune off. But from what I see and what I heard, obviously had a rundown of the games last night. The England game, Wales, as I'm aware, didn't play too great. But I don't think that was underwhelming. I think the expectancy of the Wales squad at the moment isn't that great, is it? For a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not to discredit England, because those first 25 minutes they looked solid. To be fair, obviously they had some main players out, so the England squad as a whole, I've got to give some kudos to them. They looked good.
Yeah. No, to be honest with you, I mean, Tuchel's football. Do you think? Because I mean, I'm still a bit skeptical on him. I'm not sure. I mean, the big question is, the big test is winning something for England, isn't it? We all know that's the biggest test. But obviously, club level, he's extremely successful. But that doesn't always transition, does it, into international football? Over all the games I've seen of England play, I would say the last game we played, we won 5-0, I think it was, wasn't it? Can't remember who the opponent was now. That was probably one of the better performances, and last night's performance was pretty decent. But do you think Tuchel is the man for England?
It's a tough one to call, I think, this early. I think England as a squad, and religiously in the past, obviously having watched them consistently my entire life, they have ups and downs. We know that they play quite well out of tournaments. We know that when they get into tournaments, pressure hits. We know that media cries hit out, and we know that our players get affected by things. There's a ton of stuff that affect the England squad when they're in a tournament. And annoyingly, you don't see those effects in friendly games. And I think last night proved that, because, again, we came out not in any way, shape or form how I was expecting England to come out, in any way, shape or form. So it's definitely possible, for sure. It's definitely possible that Thomas Tuchel could be the right person for us moving forward to get us some trophies somewhere. But for me, it's still such a long shot in the distance for an England squad. It's just not that plausible just by changing a manager, unfortunately.
No, very, very valid point. Very valid point there. Last night, obviously, first 20, 21, 25 minutes of the game, I remember messaging Malcolm saying this one looks like it could be a 6-0, but then after the third goal, the goal was kind of dried up, but still very, very good game. But Watkins last night obviously grabbed a goal. Morgan Rogers as well. Two players there that I don't think have done overly well for Villa so far this season, but are obviously competing for a place for England. Do you think those two... What do you think? I think the question is, on that one, is internationally they're doing all right at the minute. And yes. I think very much in Tuchel's plans, but club level doesn't seem to be working out for him at the minute.
No.
What do you think?
It's almost impossible to say why the difference is there between club level and national level. But what I can say, and this is, I think, what's going to be the talk of the town today, is the Villa players last night. They were fantastic in the squad. They were absolutely fantastic. I think Thomas Tuchel's decision to trust Morgan Rogers, obviously not really seen too much of him in an international shirt, and it was entirely validated. He came on and he was fantastic. I reckon he's soon to be considered in the number 10, to be honest. If he can continue to play and show that tactical awareness as he did last night, he was a fantastic player for England squad moving forward. In regards to how they're going to go back to Villa. I think a result like this and an international friendly like this, especially at Wembley, I think that can only send players back to a club level filled with excitement and energy and all the good things that you'd like for a player to return to a club with. So maybe now we'll see a change in them. Not sure. The difference in between playing at club and international level, I've no idea. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But for players like that, when they come out and then excel on an international pitch, whether it's a friendly or not, you can tell some of them have just been yearning to get in an international shirt. And that's the dream for most football players, isn't it? The Premier League and Arsenal and United and wherever else they want to end up. But ultimately, number one goal is representing your country. So yeah, I'm really happy that they came out and performed last night. I think that's going to do such kudos for Aston Villa moving forward.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think it is a difficult one to try and work out the reasons why. Just wondered what your opinion was on it. So you've given that, so fair enough. Another player that stood out for me last night was Elliot Anderson. Someone who I know Eddie Howe was very, very, very reluctant to let go, but they had to for the financial side of things. Someone that's I don't know if you watched much of him in the under-21s tournament back in the summer. I thought he was excellent for them, and he's come into the senior international side and sort of carried that on. He's someone that I think really has sort of gone under the radar, but is now going to really cement himself in this England team. Because again, I thought he was excellent last night. I don't know whether you had any views on him or.
Yes and no. Again, so I don't know if I can give a fair enough view because I only watched the first 25 minutes. And obviously the highlight was on a number of other players in those 25 minutes. So yeah, I don't think my view on Elliot Anderson would be as accurate as yours.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I thought he was great again. And like I say, watching him during the under-21s Euro Championships, I thought excellent player, such an engine. There's been a comment here actually that I want to ask you why, because I cannot understand this myself. Cannot understand why he plays Henderson. Now, I know from the changing room side of things, he's a leader. He's probably a good talker, good motivator. And it is important to have that in the squad. But, there is a couple of other kind of captain contenders in that squad. Obviously, you've got Harry Kane, who's already captain anyway, who should be a good voice in the changing room. Declan Rice is another one who I think has leadership skills, should be a good voice in the changing room. Do you reckon Henderson's place in the squad may need to come on as sub-appearance, maybe to be a voice in the changing room? Do you reckon that's a wasted spot potentially?
Yeah.
Could someone come in and make a difference? What's your view on that? Because for me, I kind of still wonder why he gets picked, to be honest.
So I thought this a while ago because I think he was out of English football for a little while and then still brought to the World Cup. And even then, it was at that time I was like, how is it possible for an English national to not be playing in the Premier League, to not have full eyes on them by the England squad, the England senior leadership, the England players, everyone else that forms this international side? How can we then bring players in who haven't been in the country for a year? That blows my mind entirely. Yeah. That doesn't make sense in any way, shape or form for me. And in regards to the voice in the changing room or on the subs bench, time has to move on. And as you said, we've got a ton of other players now that are as much of a voice, as much of an influence. Why wouldn't we be moving that on to the next person? Again, it's such a strange one. I've thought it for a while, and it doesn't make sense. And he definitely shouldn't be in the team.
Yeah. No, I just can't, understand it. I understand a club like Brentford signing him, for example. I'm sure what he does at Brentford's excellent in terms of his experience, and he is playing regular at Brentford. I just think sometimes is it like you say, it's time to move forward, isn't it? And you've got John Stones there. John Stones has been in the international setup for a long time. He's been to quite a few tournaments now. So that's an experienced head. Jordan Pickford, another one.
Yeah, no, exactly. If not, I'd argue even more so some of these days, to be honest.
This is it. And I just think, could we not bring someone else into the squad? I mean, I know Bellingham's missed out on this squad. I think from what I read, Tuchel's meant to have spoken to him about him not being selected this time. And a big drama's been made of that. Now, I believe he's only just come back recently from injury, Bellingham, hasn't he? And, sometimes, when you look at it, I think when you look at it from a sensible perspective, if someone's just come back from injury and you got a friendly against Wales, I think it's the next game a qualifier, or is that a friendly again?
Next one is a qualifier, I think. Yep.
But a qualifier that you should think the England squad is strong enough to deal with without necessarily having Bellingham in the squad. So I think personally it might be a sensible idea to leave Bellingham out of this squad, since coming back from injury. But a lot of the press are making, quite a hoo-ha about it, like his position for the tournament is actually going to be under threat. But I can't see that. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so there was a big question last night. I was reading an article, and it was exactly about this. And it was, I think the question was, is he creating division by leaving out highly esteemed players, Bellingham, Foden, and so on? And how will that affect the squad harmony, right? And I don't think those things can be considered. We all know what Thomas Tuchel can do. We've seen him. We've seen him in the Premier League, right? So why, again, are we instantly going back to oh, no, we all know better. We don't trust his decisions as a manager, even though he's definitely won silverware. And yet last night, he makes the changes that he makes. He brings on players that we haven't seen too much of in an international shirt. And we had a fantastic first half. And we came away with a win against Wales. So I think there's a number of things that have to be kind of like squashed a little bit and just look, let's ride this almost a little bit like we're doing at Bournemouth. If you're that into the English club and the national team, you've got to ride this wave with Thomas. You got to be on board with him. And I think players like Bellingham, if you're going to get highly ranking, highly rated players like that moaning that they're not going to get a C in for a friendly game against Wales, I mean, there's so much bigger at play, boys. Much bigger at play. Like, this shouldn't be your concern. This should just be a game that's happening in the back of your mind, and you continue with your career. But it gets certain people riled up. And it's strange. I'm not sure if you heard Thomas's comments after the game, but he criticised the English fans and the Wembley crowd for being silent.
Oh, did he? No, you see, I didn't see any. I pretty much at the final whistle, I switched off. So that's what he said, was it? And I think, actually, come to think of it, do you know what? Thinking back to it now, and I didn't notice it during the game, because obviously when you're watching the game, sometimes you don't really always recognise the crowd, do you? Yeah. But wow. Yeah,
it was something along the lines of saying that the fans didn't reciprocate the energy, and he felt that more vocal backing would have helped in phases where Wales had taking of the pitch in the second half. And he was like, had we have had not a silent crowd in Wembley, second half would have been just as exciting.
Yeah.
But again, that, if anything for me, that shows what kind of manager that England have now got. That you don't really hear that from other people. You don't go, oh, we've won 3-0 at a Welsh friendly at Wembley. But guys, come on, you guys could have been so much better. That is a different kind of approach that shows he's taken into account every aspect of what is possible to win a game already. I think that's super important. It's an important mentality to have.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think you've hit the nail on the head there. That's, I don't think if there was a English manager in place, would an English manager have said the same thing?
I don't think so. Can't see it.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think I can. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's great that the managers observed that and said, look, at the end of the day, we do need that 12th man sometimes. And yeah, I mean, the second half, I think his point is very, very valid there. The second half, I think Wales got into the game a bit more. I think really after such a strong start in the first half, we should have at least probably executed a couple of more goals in that second half. But yeah, touching on the second half, a Cherry had an opportunity in that second half. I think it was a cross from Nico Williams, I think it was. And Brooksy was on the end of a half volley, but unfortunately was pretty much just straight at Jordan Pickford. But watching Brooksy last night, and I don't know whether you would have seen much of this, to be fair, Ollie, in the first sort of 25 minutes that you've seen. But I thought he looked a little bit frustrated at times, because there's times when he was, for example, passing the ball back to his fullback, he would then make the run to go forward and the fullback would go sideways.
Yep.
It just seems to me that, you know, from someone like Brooksy, who's been starting and deservedly so for Bournemouth, playing such flowing football that Bournemouth play, it must be sometimes quite difficult and frustrating to go internationally and then expect the type of passes you're expecting and then not receiving them.
Absolutely. And I think it's the key word you said there. He looked frustrated, mate. He really did look frustrated. And I think you could even see that in the first 25 minutes when I was watching. I think the third goal that comes in from the right-hand side, a ping over into the top left-hand corner, Brooksy was the only one stood in front of it. He was the only person working that play around the box. He was the only player trying to fucking get that, excuse my language, trying to get that ball not going to the back of that net. And it seemed like all of the other defenders and all of the other players were almost trying to work around Brooksy. It was an odd one. I can see why he was getting frustrated. I really can. For someone to come off the back of 6, undefeated games for Bournemouth, getting minutes every single weekend to enter into a team that doesn't work the way that he's been working. I could see why that'd frustrate anyone.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely felt that he looked frustrated during that game. But let's quickly jump back in the comments before we start on the Scotland game very briefly. Paul, have we reached the level yet for Matt to do a forfeit? Now, right, okay. Now, Paul, on that one, the forfeit has been decided. There was a forfeit originally decided, which I said to Craig, the amount of subs isn't enough. So when we get to a certain number of subs, then I will do the original forfeit. But yeah, that will be coming up soon. But Craig's on holiday at the minute. It's his big 4-0 this weekend. So he's on holiday at the minute. So once he's back.
Big shout out. Happy birthday to Craig. Shout out.
Yeah, big shout. We will do a big shout out to Mr. Beasley, definitely. So yeah, once he's back from his birthday celebrations, because I think we're all sort of taking a break this weekend from channel stuff. So once he's back from his birthday weekend, we shall. I'm sure we shall announce it at some point. But yeah, that will be coming very, very soon, Paul. So do stay tuned. Christie scored, which we are going to touch on, Paul. Yeah. Malcolm, like seeing the players with egos being left out. Better to have a team that play as opposed to individuals. Now, this point here that Malcolm's making, I think, is very, very relevant to the so-called golden generation that won nothing. Now, when you go back to like Sven-Goran Eriksson's time, and possibly even Glenn Hoddle's time, I always thought that, and I think it's been well documented that now what I think this is a credit to Gareth Southgate. I think the squad now gelled together. They're more together than I think an England squad has ever been. Whereas previously you'd have a group of the Liverpool players that would just be together, a group of the United players that would just be together, and so on. I don't think squads previously to Southgate have really gelled together and kind of had those sort of club egos taken into international football, which I always thought under the likes of Sen, because I think if we'd have got past Brazil that year in the World Cup, there would have been a good chance we could have probably, at least got, right to the semis, maybe the final. But I always thought little things like that kind of has hindered England's chances over the years. I mean, would you agree to something like that, Ollie?
I can agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very accurate comment, to be fair.
Yeah, and I don't think that, and I think that's credit to Gareth Southgate, in all honesty, because I think that was one of the first things he did as manager, was completely got rid of the egos and said, when you're on England duty, you're an England player, you're an England squad.
Yeah, and you bring back some harsh feelings when we talk about Gareth Southgate and how close we got. And immediately, every time I hear his name, it takes me back to that moment. I remember it. I remember it vividly against Italy. That was our time. It was our time.
It was our time.
I just remember it so vividly that night. And that's every time I think of Gareth Southgate, it'll take me back to that feeling and that emotion. So yeah, I only have thanks for him for that period of time.
Yeah. I mean, he did make a real stride forward, didn't he, with the international?
Oh, it was huge. It was probably one of the most exciting times to be watching international football for us as England fans. For me specifically, at my age, I had never experienced anything like it. The amount of people and camaraderie and the streets, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Well, I remember Euro 96 pretty well, but that's probably me showing my age. So moving swiftly on, just before
I won't tell you when I was born, mate.
Just having a quick look here. We've got quite a few people watching, guys, but we've only got 7 likes at the minute. So if you're watching, do smash the likes for us. It means a lot. Paul, he is a very good manager. So I think this is on the Tuchel points we were making. He's a very good manager. I think a few years back we would have won something with him, but now I think other teams have got better. Yeah, it's an interesting point as well. Like Ollie was just saying there, Euro 2020, or when we played it in 21, was our time. That final against Italy was our moment, and unfortunately, from what I can remember, we went too defensive, didn't we, after we scored so early? Yeah, we've touched on that, so thank you for that, Paul. Elliot Anderson was excellent. Yes, he was. I'm glad you could share the same view there. Great player, and I do think he will. He's on the plane for me, Elliot Anderson, definitely. It's a pity Semenyo is not playing for England. I think with him we could possibly win something. And do you know what? He is the best winger in the Premier League at the minute. There's no doubt in it. That's why all the speculation is about again. So yes. Interesting. Henderson had his day. Yes, we touched on that. Henderson is a hypocrite. Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Paul? That'd be great if you can. Latvia away is the next one. Yeah. Happy for Christie to get a goal.
Yes.
Yellow card, Ollie. I'm assuming that was the language.
Yeah, so apologies.
And don't care about the age. 1966 was the best. Yeah, no, fair play to you, Paul. David, sorry. Yourself and Paul will have many memories of that, I'm sure. So yeah, let's just quickly touch on Scotland. So Scotland, Gannon Doak, again, another very, very decent performance. Was pulled off at around the 60th minute. I was kind of flicking between the two. Mainly concentrating on the England one, but I did flick between Scotland and the England game. Gannon Doak, another decent performance and a Christie goal. I think with these two players, Ollie, I think these good performances, obviously I think Gannon Doak's good performances is coming from some decent substitute appearances in the first team for Bournemouth. I think he's transitioning that into his Scotland career. And Christie always tends to play a bit more forward for Scotland. I don't know if you noticed that. He tends to play in his more sort of original position rather than playing him deeper. Got a goal, which is good to see. Christie as a player, would you like to see Christie get more goals, or do you think specifically for Bournemouth, his role is that deeper role to win the ball and start to create from that midfield? Or do you think, like when he plays for Scotland, obviously we know he plays a bit more forward, but would you like to see him score more goals in a Bournemouth shirt, or do you think his role is he does enough in his role, which is vitally important anyway?
I think he does enough in his role, which is absolutely vitally important. I don't think, as we know, goals from every player aren't necessity. We need our goal scorers, and we do have our goal scorers, clearly. But no, I think Ryan Christie does exactly what he needs to do. He does what he says on the tin, right? He opens it himself up. He looks for exactly where he needs to play balls. He knows his team members. He knows where people are going to be moving on the pitch. He creates things, doesn't he? And I think for us, that's what we need, is we need more stuff being created in the final third rather than someone who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Because how many more times X can we do if we create those opportunities rather than leave it to one person?
Yeah. No, very, very good point. Good to see that those two boys have done well. Again, for their international sides, I'm sure that they will bring that back to their performances at Bournemouth. And also, Kluivert got off the bench last night. I didn't really see much of that. I know you quickly looked it up before we come on. He played 29 minutes. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, 29 minutes, 44 total passes, and 40 of them completed. So 90% passing completion, and he had a shot on target. So it seems like not a bad 29 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, does sound like a productive short period of time. For me, I don't know about yourself, Ollie. I think we maybe briefly discussed it back on Cherry Slaps, but for myself, Kluivert straight into the starting lineup for the next game for Bournemouth. Not just because of the goal he scored, but I think it's time that we bring him back in. I think he's great at, obviously great at everything he does, and I think that sort of first half against Fulham, we kind of missed something like that in that sort of front three.
Yeah.
For you, does he go straight back into the Bournemouth side?
100%, and not just again, as you said, because of the previous game and the goal that he scored, or the time frame that he's been waiting to get back into the starting squad. You've hit the nail on the head. First half of Fulham, we could have done with Kluivert on the pitch, and I think at Crystal Palace, if we come out the same, we're gonna be in a worse position in that first half. They'll put a goal behind us, and then we're up against it in the second half. So I think the more energy that we can get on that pitch in the first half, especially in the sense of Kluivert, crikey, I'm all for him starting next game.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's see, because that's going to be a tough game at Palace. When we come back into the comments, 66 was awesome, but the best team was Brazil in 1970. Yeah, I have watched some old footage about Brazil in 1970. That was the Gordon Banks save, Malcolm, if memory serves me right. Paul, right, brilliant. Thanks for this.
Yeah, this is fair. I see why I said it now.
Yeah, and I totally forgot about this. So he moaned about playing in the World Cup in an Arab nation, about how they treated people. Then he played there to earn money. Yeah, spot on. Yeah. David's agreeing about Brazil 70. And here he is. Bob the Builder is in the house. Good to see you, Daz, as always. Kluivert's minutes have all been well managed. Now is the time for him to start. Totally agree. The Dutch manager has not watched him much. Holland had 2 penalties, and he did not take one. Oh, right. Oh, okay. So obviously they got penalty takers ahead of him, and when you see how he executes a penalty so well, that is quite surprising. Yes, I'm assuming that's to the Gordon Banks reference. And short.
Shout out Liam, it's his birthday.
Shout out Liam, it's his birthday today. Liam, it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday to you, Liam.
You and Craig are almost on the same birthday.
Exactly. Yes. Very, very close. Yeah. So happy birthday to you, Liam. And hope you have a great day.
Can I say as well, I saw a post the other day, just while we're on Kluivert.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you just froze a little bit there.
Hello.
But
yeah, I'm here.
yeah,
I'm back.
Yeah, you're there. Yeah.
Kluivert's obviously Kluivert has got more than just the one son playing football, hasn't he? And all three of them scored last week on the same night. So if you go and have a look at that and look it up and search Patrick Kluivert and where all of his kids play football. And it's quite the stat that all of them scored a goal on the same day last weekend. Go and search it.
Yeah, will do. Thanks for that. Trip to Specsavers is needed with all that squinting. I think it's this bright light I've got above me, to be honest. But yeah, no, thanks for that, Daz. Darren Hurst from co-host to reference to Bob the Builder, a man of many talents. Is it that cold in North Wales, Ollie? You're freezing.
It's regularly cold here, yeah. And because this is my office now, and the office is in the back corner of the house, it's the coldest room in the house as well.
Yeah.
Regularly after the show, I tend to kind of declothe and then reclothe back on and change hats and all sorts.
Yeah, my office I'm in here is got two outside walls, so I know exactly where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So just before we wrap up the show, we will be wrapping up sort of within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Just a couple of more points. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'm sure a lot of people have, maybe that are on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that, but Dango Atara. Now, obviously, we know he left Bournemouth for a couple of reasons. One, that he wanted more minutes. Another one was said that he wanted to play in a certain position. I think Bournemouth got some very, very good transfer fee money for him. I think it was 42 million, isn't it, in total eventually that we will receive. And he's been listed this week as starting for the under-21s. Now, Ollie, we had a sort of brief discussion about this before we come on air. I'll let you give your views and opinions on this one first. But yeah, to have a £40 million plus player who hasn't been injured or out of the game for any period of time to be playing for the under-21s is a bit rare. Your opinion on that, mate?
I think it's madness. I think I actually had to quadruple check it. Not just double and triple. I had to really make sure that I was seeing it and reading it right, because it's just a decision I can't get my head around. I think your sentence before the show, when we were discussing it, nailed it. The grass isn't always greener. And I think that really is the case here, which is a shame. He's obviously thought, I can almost corner cut this progression plan that everyone else is following at Bournemouth, get over to Brentford, get more minutes, more goals, and this is it for my career. And he's playing in the academy team. It's a mind-blowing decision. That 40 million quid. I mean, I can't imagine their academy team's worth more than 10 mil. So I can't get my head around it. Can't get my head around it at all.
Yeah, it's bit of a strange one. Now, obviously, I know under-21s and development squads, things like that. Sometimes you do see first-team players playing it. Like I know Tyler Adams, for example, when he was coming back from injury to get game time to build his fitness back up in a match situation, he was playing a few development games, and I get that. But unless they think he's unmatch fit, or does he need some match sharpness, maybe, and they've put him in there? Because he did make quite an impact when he first moved there, didn't he? I think he scored on his debut, didn't he?
Which then does not lead to that logical decision.
No, it doesn't, does it?
There isn't this. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And what you're saying makes sense. Had he not have come in and hit the ground running, scored a goal, and he was a bit all over the place and couldn't fit in with the squad, and stamina wasn't there, or whatever the point is, I could completely understand this move. But I don't. None of that's accurate to me. It just doesn't make sense unless that Darren's comment at the bottom is accurate in regards to him already upsetting someone.
Yeah. that is the other thing, isn't it? I mean, I would have thought that would have been documented in the press by now, probably, if that was the case. I've not seen anything. But yeah, that is another reason why he would be playing in there. Just very, 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 very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange one. But let's just quickly jump back to the comments. Just a bit of a correction here, guys. It's not Liam's birthday. And I thought that because I remember wishing him a happy birthday back earlier this year. So, yeah.
So
yeah.
you've done it again anyway.
So anyway, you know, the King and the Queen, they have 2 birthdays, don't they? So there's nothing wrong with it.
He was the first fan to buy a Bournemouth shirt this season. So maybe you get 2 birthdays this year. Yes,
that's what it is. Paul, where's Sean? Has he not come on today because of talking about Dango? Yeah, Sean is a big admirer of Dango. I don't think he always comes in on a Friday. I think he works, maybe. But yeah, he doesn't always come in on the chat, I don't think, on a Friday, but I might be wrong. But I'm sure he probably catches up with this later on. Darren Hurst, perhaps he has stated where he wants to play like he did here and has upset someone. We've gone over that yet. Yeah, quite possibly. Mm-hmm. Paul, I'm glad he's not here now. We got good money for him, which we did, and he's not missed one bit. And I think when you look at the impact that, Gannon Dokes had off the bench, which was a lot of the impact Dango had off the bench for us when he was here. I agree with that comment. I think, Gannon Doke is filling in for him pretty well. A
lot of this is coming down to moral grounding and character. Yeah. And I think a lot of the players that we've got now, we're getting rid of characters that aren't fitting in with how we're playing and how we're moulding together. And Dango is one of them. And clearly, something's now happened at the new club. Clearly. So it just shows that, again, it's another correct decision from recruitment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Spot on. If I had to spend 43 million and it went a bit sour, I wouldn't be broadcasting it on any news. Yeah, that's also very true.
Exactly, yeah.
Have a great day, Liam, anyway.
Yeah.
I think Doke is a level above Dango. Yeah, I think if he's not now, I think he's going to develop into that. Definitely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Dango was great, but never knew he had his boots on right feet from one touch to another. Dango was great, but never knew if he had his boots on the right feet from one touch to another. Yeah, okay, yeah, with you. Yeah, cool. So just before we wrap up, so that's just a little bit on Dango Atara there. If anybody does know or find out the reasons why, pop it in the chat, pop it into the comments below the video, or just let us know at the email address, which is utciadafcb@gmail.com. Right, last topic. Obviously, earlier this week, I don't know if anybody in the chat or anybody watching seen it. I did a very short video on the situation with Julian Areju, our Mexican international right back. So, yeah, I'm not going to give anything, my opinion, away. But I'm just going to ask Ollie for his opinion, just because I'm interested to hear other people's opinions on things. So, Ollie, the situation with him as a player in the squad, what do you think in terms of his future? Where does it lie? Does it lie with Bournemouth, or does it possibly lie away? Or what's your opinions and thoughts on that situation?
So I'll be completely honest with you. My immediate thought about Arejo is that he fits the Foley DNA perfectly. He's young. He's entirely moldable and developable. He is going to have a much bigger resale value. The modern profile that he fits coming into the team, everything about him at the moment seems like he's a mid-term player for us, right? We're building him. We're building him to get him to a point of being a first team for us. And then he'll have that season in our first team, and I guarantee he'll sell for quadruple the price after that season. I think he'll be absolutely perfect for what we want. I think at the moment, in regards to starting and actually playing, obviously aerial consistency, he's nowhere near as good as Diakite or Zabs or Dino, or he's not nowhere near that level yet. But he's trying, and he'll be there eventually. He occasionally overcommits when pushing up from defence into midfield, and you can kind of see he gets caught out sometimes a bit. But again, a player for his age, he's super composed, he's super calm, and I think he's got a lot of potential with us.
Wow, no, great point of view, definitely. Short term, do you think it would benefit him to go out on loan to get game time on a short term, or should he stay and fight for his place? Obviously, the manager has quoted it in saying basically, he needs to pick himself up and get going again. So would you think that would help, or is it a case that, he needs to stay with the squad?
No. So I think in most other situations, I would have said yes, let's send him out on a loan. But his athleticism, he's strong, he's aggressive, he's got good acceleration, he reads danger pretty well. Like, everything about him shows that he doesn't need to go out and have that experience or exposure. He's already got it. So I think what's going to be beneficial to him is just being at Bournemouth, being a part of this squad, training with the squad, getting his minutes in where he can. And this season will be a slow build for him. Yeah, no, fair play. Good to have your views and opinions on that one, Ollie. Thank you very much. Let's just jump back into the chat very shortly before we wrap up. Darren Hurstein, the show, Matt, great show, very interesting. Thanks, Daz. Daz's point here, Herrera, who just needs to be moulded into the Andoni model, reminds you very much of the over his first season,
yeah. Now Kirk has his first season, and definitely the first half of the season. Yeah, he was very sort of erratic and picking up yellow cards and things like that. But very good point. Cheers for that, Daz. Paul agrees with Ollie. There is a good player there. Yeah, totally. Have a great weekend, everyone, and to you, Malcolm, as well. And thanks, lads. Great show again. So just before we go, obviously it is Mr. Beasley's birthday tomorrow. He does reach the big 40. So all of us at the channel are sending our best wishes to Craig on his birthday tomorrow. I'm not too far away from that myself, but enough said about that. But he's having a good weekend away with the family, so he shall be back next week.
Watching Simply Red, I believe.
He is tonight. Yes, he's going with his dad tonight to see Simply Red. Complimentary tickets, I believe. So yes, I'm sure he's going to have a great night. I do like a bit of Simply Red myself. So I'm sure that he will thoroughly enjoy that. So be back next week, guys, 8:00 Monday through to Friday. Various different hosts throughout the week. So do tune back in then. Other than that, I don't really think there's much else to say apart from happy birthday to Craig. And we'll all see you in the next one.
Yeah, up cherries.
Up the cherries.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.